He's done it again. Beardyman has created another super cool, fun and interesting deck to play on the ladder. This time it's his Menagerie Paladin, featuring a whole host of dragons, Murlocs and a couple of beasts. So let's look at this deck here. Let's break it down. It's a deck that needs to play on curve. So a 1-drop into a 2-drop into a 3-drop. And if you can play on curve, you stand a good chance of snowballing your opponent. Something else to note. There are various dependencies in this deck. So you do have to get quite lucky with what you draw. When you draw it, and then how you play it on the board. So, for example, if you have a Murloc Tidecaller that you played on turn 1, and it's on the board, ideally, your next minion that you want to play should be a Murloc to buff it up. But you could get unlucky and just have dragons in your hand, for example. So some of the dependencies and synergies you do have to watch out for, and maybe that does influence how you mulligan at the start of the game. Let's look at some of the new cards that have come through from the Descent of Dragons expansion. So let's start with the most expensive, Skyfin, which is a 3/3 body, a Murloc, and the battle cry is, if you're holding a dragon, summon 2 random Murlocs. So the potential there is to get 3 Murloc bodies onto the board, including Skyfin itself. And this combos well with Gentle Megasaur for the buff. This combos well with Old Murkai, can help buff him up. So, yeah, pretty cool card. Helps you get board presence and helps you push damage, potentially. Other new cards that we have from the expansion, Dragon Rider Talritha. So Death Rattle, give a dragon in your hand +3/+3 and this Death Rattle. Pretty unique card. Not had a chance to play it yet though. So quite keen to see how effective it is. Tasty Flyfish. Now this is a beautiful card. It's only costing 2. It's a 2/2 body. The Death Rattle is give a dragon in your hand +2/+2. Pretty impressive when you consider that this deck has a really new and cool dragon, Bronze Explorer, from the new expansion. It is a 2/3. And it's got lifesteal, and on Battle Cry you discover a dragon, which is pretty awesome. Now ideally, if you can get this buffed up through the Tasty Flyfish, this 2/3 body gets +2/+2 stats with lifesteal, is actually really strong. Okay, so let's have a look now at this deck in action on the Wild Mode ladder. Once again, the deck is courtesy of Beardyman. So let's start out against a Shaman. Now you can hear my voice starting to go a little now. This is week number 2 with a bad throat, a bad voice. Really not fun. Although I am taking my black elderberry tablets, and I think those have really been helping me for the last week.
We have turned our curse into our strength.
Okay, so we have a Murloc. And we have another Murloc, and another one to follow it up, and another one after that. So this is going to be a Murloc start in this game for us. Of course, the Nightmare Amalgam counts as a dragon as well. So we talked earlier about how on-curve plays are really important. And yeah, we've got on-curve plays here. This is good. That's not so good. Although, we have a penguin on the board. And it's a beast. So there is actually synergy with our magician. I can't remember if I talked about this at the start when we were going through the deck, but one of the aims of the deck is to get the buff through the magician. And ideally you want a triple buff. Although a double buff is still pretty good value. So we're developing a wide board here waiting for that turn 5 opportunity to buff the board. Let's see if he can clear it. No, he can't. Was maybe expecting another devolve. It was a pretty slow turn for him. Didn't develop much. Didn't do much at all. So here we go. Here's the buff. And indeed, it is the triple buff. That is incredibly strong.
Right away.
And he's nearly dead. Just like that. This is how you want the deck to work out. On-curve plays, even managing to withstand a devolve. And actually, it looks like we are going to successfully ride through this second devolve as well. Sand Breath, Divine Shield, plus a stats buff. Although, we're not holding a dragon in hand, so we don't get Divine Shield. But I will take the stats buff. That's another really cool card from Descent of Dragons. So, even Shaman. What's he going to do here? Maelstrom Portal would not save him. And that Sea Giant certainly is not going to save him. Right, what do we get? We'll take that. Ping our own face. Just to show him we're generous. Or was that too much?
Victory or death! I will fight with honor.
Okay, so a warrior here. I'm going to keep the Bronze Explorer. Beardyman, if you're watching this, you can correct me and tell me if that was a correct mulligan. Should I have kept it? Should I have got rid of it? Because notice, we don't have a 1-drop. And we talked about on-curve plays and how important they were. Not having a 1-drop is actually pretty painful. Oh look, there's a 1-drop. Of course. But on a positive note, he will kill the flyfish. And we will get a buff on our Bronze Explorer. So, do we play the buffed up one? I think we do.
Good explorer comes prepared.
Oh, wow. The Dragon Queen's too expensive. I'm going to take the 3-cost dragon just because on Death Rattle it gives us some more dragons. That's board pressure, that's board presence. I think we're going to need it in this game. Okay, so a bit of investment on his part there to clear the board. I guess we just play Murlocs. Because next turn, we're going to be living the dream with Skyfin, and we're going to get some more Murlocs on the board, and we're going to see how he deals with it.
I will act as your skilled dragon.
So every time he attacks, he takes face damage, which is good. Okay, so not getting the best Murlocs from Skyfin, but on a positive note, that Tidecaller did its job. It made a trade. That's pretty good. And again, he attacks, he takes the damage. And we're just at a point now where we're just playing stuff. We're playing stuff on curve, trying to keep a board against him. Continuing to try and push damage to the face. That's actually a really good spellbreaker target. So we could commit the Toxfin here. I mean, the 4-3 doesn't feel like the best target for Toxfin, but what it does mean is I was able to deal with it relatively easily and push a little bit more damage face.
Unity, precision, perfection.
Okay, Ziliax, still one of the best cards in the game. We don't like that healing, unfortunately. Alright, let's get the buff here. And what do we get? Well, try again. I guess as a Drake for card draw. This time we get the Divine Shield, and that's game. Wow. And we get rank 1. Feels amazing. Okay, next game. So would my luck continue here?
I will fight with honor.
So I'm gonna dump. Do I dump the Toxin? I'm gonna dump it because it's a utility card. Part of me would have been happy to play it as a 1-drop, just to get something on board, because then we'd have a 2 into a 3. But I don't know. Really want the Tidecaller or Sir Finley. But it's too late now anyway. We don't have a 1-drop on turn 1. We've got a 2-drop for turn 2. That's still pretty decent. And notice he coined a tap. He actually coined a tap. He could not wait. He really, really wanted a tap. Okay, at least we're pushing damage here. Double Sand Breath. Not sure how I feel about having both of those in hand at the same time. Oh dear. So this is Darkest Hour Warlock, and now I'm feeling a little bit scared, to say the least.
Good explorer comes prepared.
Because I cannot ignore those 1/1s. They have to die. So I'm gonna do it like this. Actually, maybe I should have traded first with the War Leader, then given it Divine Shield. Maybe that was a misplay on my part. I don't know. But yeah, feeling rather scared here. We need to kill him before Darkest Hour is cast, because if he gets Darkest Hour successfully played, there's no way we get through the board of minions that will come down. Even Toxfin won't be enough. So this is a bit of a race against time. He's tapping a lot, so maybe that will help our cause. Maybe we could do enough damage to kill him. Having a 7-attack minion on board certainly helps. So we have a lot of damage on board here. But look, Reform Scheme. 5 imps, Blood Bloom, here it is. And now this is just game over for us. Oh my goodness. That's disgusting. The annoyance there is that he got the Void Lord.
Good explorer comes prepared.
I'm not sure what we can discover here that's going to help us. So he will now do what he needs to do to stabilise. The Spellkin there I picked in case there were some spells that could help us.
Precision. Perfection.
But of course, our spells are going to be more expensive. So actually we're kind of screwed there. Happy to see Yashraj trade for once, rather than go face. And at least there aren't any more minions coming out from the deck, but
A simple spell.
I'm well aware that this game is over. So this is what happens when your opponent shoots out a bunch of big threats very, very early on. And we just can't deal with it.
From the void.
But then it's not just us that would struggle in this situation. It's worth noting that other decks would struggle too, whether you're Arena Lock, whether you are some other kind of aggressive deck, like a Pirate Warrior. You're still going to struggle against a Void Lord cheated out onto the board before turn 9. You're still going to struggle against Yashraj. So that's not an indication of this deck being poor or difficult. It's just a case of we got unlucky. And I mean, now the Void Lord is gone, but we're not going to be able to push the damage to kill him. Yeah, this is just bad luck.
Soldiers of the cold dark.
And he's playing my favourite card in the game, Kel'Thuzad, so much respect to my opponent. Okay, so sometimes things just don't work out, but look, you did see a couple of cool games in this video showcasing this deck, winning with those great on-curve plays. One thing I would say though, and we haven't showcased it in this video, are my losses to Pirate Warrior. Pirate Warrior is something I've been facing a lot of between ranks 1 and 2. In fact, one of my recent videos was a Pirate Warrior video, and I was able to showcase to you just how amazing it was going from ranks 4 to 2 with that deck. Just Pirate Warrior has been given more tools to go wide on the board early, and because of that it can just dominate early on, push enough damage, and by turn 5 or turn 6 there is absolutely nothing you can do to come back into the game and they have killed you. So I have struggled against Pirate Warrior with this deck, particularly where I've not drawn a 1-drop, particularly where it's a 2-drop that's my first thing that I'm playing, and by that point in the game they've already got 4 or 5 things on the board, with patches, cheap pirates coined out, the pirate that puts itself onto the board when you play another pirate. There's all sorts of tools that they now have to go super wide, and so I've really struggled against Pirate Warrior. Beardyman's solution to this was, I've been talking to him about it, is to get some taunts into this deck, so I'd be curious to see what he comes up with. But regardless, as you've seen in this video, this deck is innovative, it's cool, and it's different, and that is Beardyman through and through. So give the deck a chance and give it a try. At ranks 1 and 2, it is hard to pilot, but I think if you're playing at a lower rank, either rank 10, rank 7, maybe even rank 5, I think you will find that this deck can be especially effective. I know it's been working really well for Beardyman, and by the way, this deck is the result of various fine-tuning, because he has been playtesting this deck. If I've helped him test it, I helped him test an early version of the deck. That was a version of the deck, if memory serves correct, that ran Marsh Drake and Hungry Dragon. So certainly unique, and of course those two cards are not running this deck, so he has modified the deck extensively. So thank you to Beardyman for all of his efforts and for the service that he performs for the wild community. And thank you to all of you for watching and for all of your support. And I will see you all again very soon for more Wild Mode fun.